If you're anything like me, just a well-rounded, very cultured enjoyer of the best character in Dragon Ball history being Son Gohan, you're probably looking to catch one of these beauties at your local sealed event. Yeah, that's right. This Gohan looks amazing. And thanks to this video, you'll have a higher chance and a better understanding at the sealed events that you are likely going to be playing in to get this card. So let's jump in. So, when you have these release events happening next weekend for Set 2 Blazing Aura, a lot of them are going to be sealed. Some of them may be constructed, but a lot of them are going to be sealed to give everybody a level playing field and roll the dice with the RNG of the packs. In a sealed setting, I believe you get 5 to 6 packs. You have to open up those cards, make a random deck of, well, not a random deck, but make your deck out of the random cards you get, and it's a 40 card deck. Now, past that, the cool part is you can bring any leader, and there are no color restrictions, allowing you to make combinations of cards that you never ever see before, which is going to be great because we have a lot of different things that we can go over. Now, the whole purpose of the video is to show you guys some of the best cards you could be picking out of the set, because there are indeed levels to this. Different cards that never would have really worked in not constructed can work in sealed. Different cards with color synergies that wouldn't normally not work because we don't have dual colors yet will work in this particular mode. So it's going to be good to go over all of it. Most importantly, in every pack, you only get one, or you get 2 rares, I believe 2 uncommons, and then the rest of them are going to be commons, if I am not mistaken. I could be very wrong about that, but I know you get 2 rares, and so unless you get a SR or an SCR, in which case you only get 1 rare. So that being said, the commons need to be looked at very heavily because the commons are going to be where you do most of your building. The uncommons, you can sometimes find them. Sometimes you might even get 2 end of your packs. The rares are very rough. You have all these rares and you only get 2 per pack, sometimes 1, but if you only get 1, you probably got a bomb that's gonna carry you to victory as long as you see it. So while we won't go over the SRs and SCRs, because if you pull them, just put them in your deck. There's gotta be some common that is worse. There will always be a common that is worse than the SR/SCR that you pull. However, the examination of the commons, the uncommons, and the rares are what this video is really about. So let's switch over to the template because we have a lot of cards and concepts to go over. Also, if we can get this video over 100 likes, that would be excellent. And if you want to go back and see all of the deck breakdowns that we've done on this channel, or go on my Patreon, join up and see the in-depth guides and my own personal deck list, those will be there too. Next week we will be doing Set 1 revisits of leaders that got supported. I'll be having polls pretty much on all my socials, or at least forums on my socials. You guys can let me know. There's already one on my Patreon where people are just letting me know which they want to see, because I normally give them first priority. And past that, we will switch the template and start talking about Set 2's sealed format. So, because you're able to choose any leader, you have to just wade through the leaders that are going to be good on a general basis. So first and foremost, we have Starter Coup. This guy is basically on his backside just going to offer 5k to a battle card once per turn on your turn and your opponent's turn, since it's an activate battle. And so that means essentially you can save round turn, your opponent's turn. It's going to save 2 cards per hand because you'll be able to go up 5k for a combo twice. A very, very good card, sturdy card. Next, you actually have Vegeta. Now, Vegeta is actually going to put in a lot of work because in a sealed format, you're not going to build the same hand size that you would normally build. So once you hit 4, you're going to actually be able to be up at 35k quite a bit. And so this is a guy that you would definitely want to consider, especially if you get a saturation of blue cards that require you to be at that 7 or less threshold. Sorry, cats are being silly in the background. But yeah, Vegeta's pretty good. Frieza, draw a card, and then yeah, just at the end of your turn, choose up to 2 of your battle cards and switch in the active position. There's not going to be as much destruction unless your opponent gets extremely lucky in a sealed format. So with that being said, Frieza being able to untap your cards like this is going to allow you to keep your best battle cards protected a lot more often, and that is going to lead to you being able to amass quite a defense and be able to play around a lot of things. So yeah, these are the 3 leaders that I would say are most generic. Some of them, like Vegeta, do work better for more aggressive strategies, whereas Goku and Frieza are just generically good. Now moving on to the ones that might be a little different, you have Son Goku from U7 in set 1. That is going to be a card where you definitely are going to need to have more of an aggressive build for it. But yeah, you never know. If you have a bunch of 1 drops, a bunch of 2 drops, honestly, since the TOP archetype has a bunch of U7, you may be able to make this guy work a little better than you thought. But that being said, you have to get fairly lucky on the U7s you get, and some of them are in the rares of this set. So this leader may or may not work. I just really think it depends. It depends. This really will lean on your commons and uncommons and how many U7 you do get. So just be mindful of that. Next, you have Trunks. Trunks is actually pretty interesting because he's a blue leader and he's going to be able to bounce 3 costs or less. When your opponent's playing vanillas, it's going to be so easy to bounce a 3 cost or less and just completely stun their momentum. Just be like, no, I'll put that back to your hand, so you'd have to replay it or just not play it if you were going to play something else. And then on top of that, if you have some really strong come into play effects on your side, you can start reusing them and abusing them. And just kind of like Frieza, using his effect, you're going to be able to keep things out of harm's way, replay them, get their own play effects, and then keep going. So Trunks is a valid option too, depending on what you pull. And then the last leader I wanted to go over is going to be Vegeta, because if you get enough of these extra activate battle cards, because there's like 1 in each color for 2 costs, there's at least 1 each color for 1 cost, you know, Barrier, Glimpse of Hidden Arrogance, or Time Rewound, and Awakening the Blue Power, you're going to be able to actually use those very well. You're going to be able to play on curve every turn and then have an activate battle ready. Granted, just know that you're going to burn out a hand really fast for the most part, because you're going to not really be drawing like you would in other decks. So that is what it is. Now, that pretty much is going to sum up the leaders. We're going to move into the comments and kind of speed right through there and let you guys know which comments to look at. So speeding through the comments, you really have to pay attention first and foremost to vanillas. Vanillas are just going to be snapped. Like, you can't afford to just be like, I don't really like vanillas because, like, you know, they're just vanillas. Nah, dude, vanillas are your bread and butter. They're 10k combos, and on top of being a 10k combo, they generally have some really good stats. So anytime you see a vanilla that costs 2 or 3, you generally have to like look at them and know they're probably going to find their way into your deck. Next, we've got Kaba. This Kaba is just a really, really juicy blocker, and so yeah, in this format, 25k blocker in your opponent's turn is generally going to be a little hard to get rid of unless it's already turned sideways. So yeah, and it's a 10k combo, so this guy is going to be pretty much a house and sealed. Piccolo is just a draw 1, but hey, if you've got 40 cards and, you know, 10 of them, 20 of them are dead, you might as well just have cards that draw into your stuff. And this guy's a common, so you may actually get more than 1 of him. This is just an auto include pretty much. Then you've got Clash of the Strongest. Clash of the Strongest is really going to put in more work here, I think, here than Constructed, because without enough destruction, you're going to be able to amass a bigger field and then use Clash to just potentially boost all of your tournament powers per game. But this one is really going to be contingent on how many tournament power cards you get, so how many red cards you pull, for real. Then you have Glimpse. This card is nuts in Constructed, and I don't see it being not nuts in Sealed. Going up by 25k and then being able to fish a 30k power or more card, if you made a battle card, a card with 4 cost or less, if you got a battle card over 30k, is easy. So whether you just defend a really important battle card and then get back a 4 cost or less that they destroyed earlier, or you're pressing on the offensive, Glimpse of Hidden Arrogance is just going to be busted and Sealed. And then moving on to blue, you've got Zuno. Zuno is just going to be a blocker, but he's going to allow you to just look at the top 3 cards. Like, scry the top 3 cards of your deck. That's just very, very good in a sealed format where your deck is not going to be consistent. 10k combo as well. This Son Goten, 1 cost, on play, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, the cost of 2 or less, and return to the owner's hand. This is just a stun card, but like I said, in this sort of format, stunning is going to be important. This is very, very Vegeta centered, but like I said before, I believe I said before, in Sealed, you're going to be able to use color combinations that never existed. in constructed. So normally this would be a blue Vegeta card, but this card could actually be a blue or yellow Vegeta support because it says Vegeta cards and it gets plus 10k power for the turn. So you could have yellow Vegeta and use this as a 10k that also boost your yellow Vegeta. But if you also want to play blue Vegeta, hey, this still works there too. So very good, very good. Now you got Awakening of Super Saiyan Rose. Because people are going to be playing all the colors, there is likely going to be a saturation of humans. You'll have your Bulmas, you'll have your Tiens, you'll have your Krillins, you'll have your Trunkses, your Gohans. And if that's the case, you have Awakening of Super Saiyan Rose, which will be able to bounce those Earthlings. And then if you return 3 or more cards, you'll draw 2 cards. So this actually may be a card that if you just need filler space, you may just put it in. You can always just charge it, but if it does hit and bounces like 3 cards back to your opponent's hand, you will be able to draw multiple cards. Now you got Time Ring, very, very, very good. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, draw 1 after rearranging them or putting them at the bottom. This is literally going to just be a consistency boss in the deck, so yeah. Kami is pretty neat. You're just going to be able to destroy 1-drops. Who knows if this is actually going to be good or not, because I don't know how many 1-drops other than the rare Frieza we'll talk about later will really impact. But some SRs are actually good in here, like if somebody pulls a Bulma or something like that. So yeah, being a 10k, you might as well just add it in just for being a 10k that could get it in if need be. Then you have your Coroni, Pizza, and Perosi. It's a 1-cost blocker. You have to look at blockers a little differently because with your hand not being as big as it will be in constructed, if you can block, you can generally just save cards in hand, so run the block. Now Spybot. Spy Robot was not very good in constructed, but I think he's very good in sealed because no opponent's deck is going to be a deck of their choosing for the most part. So seeing 3 cards in your opponent's hand is actually going to give you crucial information onto what they're about to play and what they're about to do because it's pretty much random, you know. So very good card. Then you got Bulma. 10k combo, 1 cost, activate main once per turn, discard 1 card from your hand, draw 1 card. This is going to be a consistency engine, and at the common slot, you can probably see multiples of them if you're lucky. Very good card. This is like one of those cards where I'm like, Kami is good, because like you just don't want your opponent being able to every turn discard their worst card and draw their next card. Senzu Bean is going to be very detrimental because in this sealed format, there are going to be turns where you just don't have stuff to play, and if you have an established board already and you just want to make sure your opponent doesn't make any progress in your life, you can always Senzu Bean yourself and then be like, yeah, what are you gonna do now? Also, if you don't have anything to do, paying 5 to gain a life, not bad at all. Next, you have Son Goten, and we talked about this in the yellow reveals video. This is kind of like the replacement to the Ginyu package, and it's in the common level. So if you see Son Goten or in Trunks, you can actually just play them on top of each other and start untapping, and this can make a lot of pressure. When each one of these swings is a card out of your opponent's hand, if you're at 4 or less, it's just really strong to know that you could be like, okay, I'm going to play this Son Goten attack. Okay, I'm going to discard a card to combo out of that. Okay, now I'm going to play Trunks, untap Goten, attack with Goten again. Okay, that's another card. I'm going to attack with Trunks again. Okay, that's another card. You just -3 from your opponent's hand. This is just a very, very, very strong card. And then speaking of strong cards, you have got Beerus. Beerus is going to be a critical permanent your turn if you have a Whis battle card. This card gains plus 5k power. I don't know if the Whis card part is going to really come into play here, but 20k critical with a 10k combo value is extremely strong in a format like this. So these are the commons that I'd say you highly prioritize. Like all of them are just goated. And next we are going to move over to the uncommon. But first, let's get a quick word from our sponsors. I am sponsored by Mystic TCG, one of the coolest places in the planet to get your TCG fix, but most certainly the coolest place in Missouri. If you are ever over there, go jump in there because they do hold their own events, they do hold their own locals, they sell all the hot TCG. You can go on the Facebook site to sell your singles, sell your collection, sell your prize cards. If you're at a One Piece event, maybe soon a Dragon Ball Super event, Yu-Gi-Oh events, you can always sell things to him on the spot. He also frequents those events. Eden's just a really, really cool guy. So go down the description and use the code UNIXTCG to get percentages off your pre-orders or your orders. And then if you're above the border. You can go to G3 in Canada, and they actually hold their own locals. They hold their own Discord events. They hold their own events as well. And on top of that, they also sell plenty of TCG product as well as pre-orders for those products. So make sure you check them out. They have one of the best teams for Dragon Ball Super Masters. And as of yesterday, I have a new code to get 5% off your purchases on their site. That's UNIX. That's UNIX. It'll be in the description. So if you're in Canada, you're covered as well. And that is the pretty much end of that. Just want to let you guys know that in Universe X, I'm doing a lot myself. You can go on the Patreon to find much deeper takes in my own personal deck list as I test for these events. Also, past that, I do stream as well on Universe X Gaming on both Twitch and YouTube. Right now, we're doing a full series clear for Kingdom Hearts. That's all the games, so I hope you guys are enjoying that if you've been watching, or maybe you want to drop by if not. That being said, let's get back to the content. So starting with the uncommons, we now have Ganos. Ganos is going to be 3 cost, 20k, 0k combo power. But the important part is he goes up by 25k power when you swing on an opponent's battle card. It's very hard to out combo this unless you have like super combos or the card is already naturally beefy and you have lots of 10ks. So generally when Ganos swings on a battle card, it's gone. So if you see this uncommon, just know he's not bad to clear board. Speaking of clearing board, you also have Kale. Kale's a 3 cost, 35k, who just goes down to 15k on your opponent's turn. It's going to get destroyed on the back end often. However, just understand that you can always play this card, get in some quick, easy damage on your opponent's leader, and know that your opponent is going to attack this before they attack your leader. So it kind of acts as a blocker and a swinger too. Then you have Kefla. This card is a monster on in Constructed. It's also a monster here. For 3, if you're Awakened, you're just going to get a 20k neutral leader swinger unless your opponent's playing Zamasu, and then you're going to be able to draw a card. I think this is just excellent. Really, 10k combo power, being able to go neutral, and seeing your next card, all very, very strong. Next you have Son Goku. This is a Krita. No, but really, he's a critical for 3, 25k. Very, very good stats for that, and good pressure. Yeah, definitely look at these. Rumshi is very good for 5. You're basically destroying almost anything somebody could pull in this format. Like, quite literally, there are very few cards, and hint, hint, nudge, they exist in like the SR realm that are going to be able to stand up to Rumshi on your turn. He's also a 10k combo, so Rumshi is just probably a very, really based card. Then you've got super combos. This should be a no-brainer. If you got super combos, if you pull super combos, put them in your deck. That should be a no-brainer. Next, you have got Zamasu. This guy is just a 5k for 30k. I do know that that's a little bit disadvantageous, but what else are you doing at that high? You do have lots of cards like Rumshi, who was a 5 cost and 30k. Kale has conditional 35k, but for the most part, 5 cost for 30k is going to be what you're looking at, unless it's vanilla, in which case it'd be a 4 cost, so just understand that. This is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Then, if you're playing Trunks, you do have the option of playing this Vegeta. Now, this Vegeta says if you're Trunks Future, look at the bottom of your deck and get a battle card with 2 costs or less. The hard part is trying to put a 2-drop Trunks there, because we have a 2-drop vanilla Trunks, but we don't have the Trunks that is going to put the stuff on the bottom of the deck. So this is a little hard, because we have a 2-drop vanilla Trunks that's going to be a, like, I think it's a 30k, I think, but maybe 25k. But the thing that you're going to basically be able to do here is if you have like something like Time Ring, which is also a common, you can use Time Ring to put the vanilla at the bottom and then use this card later to bring him out. So that's a little bit of a deep play, but it's still a play that you should be able to remember just in case. And then after that, we have Vegito. This card is exceedingly good. 2k for 20. Or sorry, 2 for 20k, and then he just harasses your opponent until they finally KO him, and at the cost of 1 of their 2 drops or less. So very good. Absolute Lightning. If your opponent does have a bomb, or your opponent just has a strong card, Absolute Lightning will bottom deck it. So yes, in a 40 card deck, they are likely to reach that eventually, but you can at least remove it for the time being. Then you've got another 3k, 25k critical. These can be very, very messy, so if you do pull them, you're probably in for a very good time. Especially seeing that you and your opponent will probably stay unawakened for a longer period of time, so these criticals will have a lot of time to get it in. Next, you have this Cell. I think this Cell could be really rough to play, but could be very, very good if you know what you're doing. This deactivate main once per turn to place an Earthling from your energy into your trash to gain 15k. You'll be able to get a lot more Earthlings because you're mixing these colors, but this is a 30k for 2, potentially allowing you to put out them shotgun plays. Then you have this Piccolo. He's a 25k for 3, so those are just good stats in general, but if you happen to see the commies, you might be able to turn the commies into ramp, and that's going to help your curve and help you play your bigger vanillas, bigger bodies, you know. Next, you also have this Whis, and Whis is just going to be a 5k, 35k, so very good stats, very hard to remove. And then at the end of your turn, choose up to one of your rest mode cards, switch to active mode. This could be him, this could be an energy, this could be anything. This guy as a 35k body will be good at protecting himself, but you could put one of your valuable 20k bodies to active mode and act as protection. Very, very good card in this format. Then you have King Cold, a 4-cost blocker for 25, who when blocking once per turn switches card to active mode. Excellent card. A card that'll block twice on neutral is very good, and if your opponent wants to combo higher on it, all you got to do is combo higher on this. 10k combo power at the very least too. This is an auto include, I believe, if you pull him. Then you have the Goku. This guy is just 3 cost for 25k, and if your opponent has 3 or more battle cards, this card gains plus 5k power. Also very good. Your opponent pretty much just doesn't really have the ability to hold things back for the most part, so this should be able to get its power boost at 30k most turns. Then this Tien, which I did not like in Constructed, is probably actually very good in Sealed. 3 costs for 20k, but the activate Battle to choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with 30k, or the cost of 3 or less to switch to rest mode, is going to be peak. So, very, very nice. Then you have Piccolo. And Piccolo is a 3 cost that just is 25, and it's just a blocker, but when it gets KO'd, you're going to untap something on your board, a battle card, and that's going to be monumental. Realistically, this is going to potentially block and then save something you didn't want getting attacked from being attacked. Then you have this Vegeta that's 3 costs, just when attacking. If you have a rest mode Son Goku battle card, draw a card. This card normally would be meh, but because of this format, mixing the colors, you have so many more Son Gokus because it's not color restricted. So this card actually may be gas depending on how many Gokus you pull. So that's actually pretty neat. Then you've got this Cooler. He's a 20k blocker for 3 that end of your turn switch to active mode. Very nice, relentless assault. He's always gonna be able to attack for neutral with a leader and then untap himself to be ready for the block or be safe from not being attacked. So very strong card. And then you have Blue Power Awakening, which is just going to, essentially most cases, going to be a 25k for 2 energy. But unless your opponent pulls like a rare, or unless your opponent pulls a SR, or unless your opponent pulls an SR, like a big SR or an SCR, this card isn't really doing anything. This card in this format would only really get rid of Xeno, SCR Frieza, and I believe SR Cell, and there may be a couple other cards from the rare slot, you know, that'll come out from green, but otherwise this isn't really hitting too many cards with destruction effects. So it's really just gonna be a 2 for 25k, which is still good on its own. So with that being said, let us move into the rares. So now that we're at rares, the cream of the crop, the top of the top, the cream of the crop. Yeah, look, you have 2 cost Caulifla. This is just 2 cost 20k critical, and you get to on play add a life to your hand. Very, very good. Very, very good to see early in the game. Strong for Awakening. Then moving on, you have Android 18, 2 cost 20k that goes up 25k on the defense. Very, very sticky, easier to defend. Very, very good card. Then you move over to Frieza. This is a 1-drop, and if you're Awakened, it's going to be a 20k. So 1-drop, go neutral with your opponent's leader is very strong, potentially being able to 1-drop and then play every activate battle that you have in your hand that's applicable to push that last damage. Do not discount this card. Next, you have Ribrianne, a 4-cost 20k double striker. Double strike is very, very rare in the normal game, much less the sealed format. So if you pull this, just know this is probably going to close out game or put your opponent down from 5. You know what I mean? Maybe putting down from 5 to 3 isn't as good in sealed because your opponent was probably going to struggle to Awaken anyway. But yeah, putting your opponent down from 4 to 2 sometimes is going to be stupid. And then if they can't answer this, you can put them down from 2 to 0. But most of the time, it's just going to be used to close out the game. Then you have got this Saved by a Barrier. Saved by a Barrier is actively stupid. You're just going to go up by 20k, and if it's a battle card, they can't be destroyed by battle for the rest of the turn. Likely just going to save the battle card in this format. Likely. Next, you have this Goku Black. Is a 4 cost 30k, so well statted. And then if when attacking, if you have 7 of your cards, you can bottom deck a 2 or less in your opponent's field. And that's going to already, like 3 of the cards we just talked about will get mized by this card. So very, very good. Next, you have this Zamasu 6k for a 6 drop for a 40k, 5k combo power, so it's not dead in hand. It's got critical, so it's going to be able to bully your opponent in those last final life when you finally get to play this. And then, because of the fact that your opponent doesn't just readily have a bunch of 1-drops that they didn't play at the very beginning of the game, you know, they might, but you might actually have turns where if you've taken care of their board, they have to play a card to try to stop you. And if you're at 1 life, then you have the opportunity to be like, bounce those back. So it's still kind of a card that you can play around easily, but you may actually get more value out of this second effect than you did ever before. Next, you've got Zeno, 6 cost, 20k, and then you've got a 10k combo power, which makes it all around pretty good. But in Sealed, more so than Constructed, there are certain boards where you just can't surmount the advantage your opponent is amassed on the board. This card will equalize it, and if you have the bigger hand at that point, you will be in a great spot to keep pressing unless your life is at 0, well, like 1 or 2. Next, you have Videl. Videl's a 1 cost, 5k, 10k combo power that can cheat into play 3 or less costed vanillas for 1 if you have 7 or less cards in hand. Very good card, changes the landscape of your deck and potentially becomes a force on her own. If you see this Videl, you can load it with more vanillas and know that you're going to be able to play them out at an accelerated rate. Now, next, if you do have a Vegeta, this is actually just really, really good. Actually, to be honest, this is just good in general, because if you have any guy, this is going to be a 4 cost 30k, right? And this is another one of those cards where you literally get to play differently because we're mixing colors. When you play this card, you can play the green Bulma that says once per turn, discard 1, draw 1, or if you got luck, you can play the SR Bulma that's going to be able to turn itself to the side if you have a 3 or more rested card and draw a card, or you can even play the Bulma it's intended to play, the blue Bulma, to boost your Vegeta leader. So there's 3 different Bulmas minimum in this set that you can play with this card, because it just wants you to play a Bulma with a cost of 1. And then on top of that, once per turn, if you have 7 or fewer cards left in hand, this card and your leader gain 5k, and that's going to be applicable a lot in the sealed format. So this card is actually a house. If you see this card, you pretty much just auto include it for what it's able to do. Now onto the green cards, you've got Krillin, and Krillin is just a 2 cost 20k. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and get an Android 18 or an extra. There's Android 18s in green, yellow, and red. So this guy has options, but also it's the extra cards, which exist in every color, and there's some pretty good ones between Earth Destroying Blow, between Glimpse, between Barrier, between Time Unwound. There's a lot of extra cards, and there's even extra cards in blue too. So this is actually a card that will probably gain its value. Next, you have Cell Jr. You probably won't ever be able to get the Cell battle card effect to play this for free, but you can play this for 2 and get back an extra card, like maybe an extra card like Time Ring, or an extra card like one of your 1 cost extra cards later in the game, and this is a 10k combo pack after that, so very, very, very decent. I think this is fine for 2. Speaking of Earth Destroying Blow, this is a 2 cost rare that is just going to activate battle, choose your leader or one of your battle cards against plus 25k, and then if you have 6 or more energy, look at the top card of your deck and add it to your hand, or add it to your energy rest mode. This card is literally just going to draw or ramp you. That's amazing. Next, you've got Whis, and Whis is just a 4 cost 25k. However, he's a blocker, and you can once per turn pay 1 to switch his card to active mode. Once this guy gets on the field, he will essentially do the work of like 3 bodies, because he will attack, untap, attack, and then you can untap him again when your opponent swings for the first time to leave him up as a blocker or pull him out of harm's way. So this card is broken, like in Sealed. Then you have Orochi, and Oroshi's just nice, a 3 cost 10k combo value. He's only got 5k power, but if he's rested, he's going to go up to 25, meaning you just play him, attack with him, he's 25. Your opponent has to get over a 25 wall, and then he untaps, and you can swing again. This guy is just really, really good. Moving on, you've got the Android 18 in yellow. On play / when attacking, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. So this is just going to be a good way to start putting things into rest mode so you can hammer them with your other threats. Very nice. And then you've got Son Gohan Adolescence, 3 cost 25k, so very good stats on that. 5k combo power. On play, you just choose one of your rest mode battle cards and it can't be untapped. Very good way to keep a very problematic card of your opponent's out of the way, like a discount Son Gohan. Being his son, it makes sense. It makes sense that this card is literally just a worse version of his dad. Then, and especially in that tracksuit. This isn't what we're talking about with Beast Gohan, because he's top tier. Clearly, he's top tier. But then you have Time Rewound, and this just says activate battle opponent's turn. Your opponent gets, or your leader or up to one of your battle cards gets 20k power for the battle. Then choose up to one of your battle cards and switch it to active mode. Extremely good in the sealed format. Protect a card, put it into active mode so they can't swing it again. So swing on it again. So very, very, very good. But these are the rares, and I think that pretty much rounds it out. So let's go to the closing. So that pretty much comes down to it. That's the entire list, I believe, of cards that should be auto includes if you pull them from your set. These cards just stand out above them. I looked at every single card this set and I was like, which ones are just the best generic cards, the best ones that fit with X, Y, and Z, the best ones that have synergies with different cards across other colors they normally wouldn't be able to touch, and those are the ones I came up with. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys use this to better win your sealed events, and yeah, good luck. I know I'll be at mine. Now, that being said, I do want to let you guys know that we are doing so many things on this channel. We are currently all done with the set 2 leaders that have been posted up. Those will be all up on the channel, and then on top of that, not only do we have the set 2 leaders there, but you also will find on my Patreon, should you choose to join it, my my own personal deck lists and my reasoning and my current findings with testing with those deck lists for the set 2 leaders. Now next week we're going to start revisiting set 1 leaders, and I already have essentially a form on my Patreon that even if you're not joined up on a tier, you can actually comment on if you want to see those things. But yeah, I have a little thing going on there that people are choosing leaders, so we'll soon see my first set 1 leader revisit based on the votes there. And yeah, next week we'll hop right into that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content. And last but not least, I just want to give a special shout out to the Realm of Xers, my highest tier, the Adnans, the APX Dophies, the Big Daddy Flapjacks, the BRs, the Professor Spezes, the Bryce R's, the Kevin I's, the Mario V's, the Mr. Top Decks. This section of my Patreon is actually growing quite smoothly, so hey, I'm definitely here for that. So thank you guys for all supporting it and giving the extra mile, and we're going to keep going both here and the Patreon and just have a lot of fun. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.